so today we're going to start this warm and cool colored torn paper seascape. And I want you to create the illusion of space. So I'm going to want you to cut out a couple of different size boats and place them in the correct place on your seascape. Larger items go up front, smaller items go in the back. So I have two boats. I have a nice large boat that's up front and near the foreground, and then I have a tiny little boat that's back in the background on the horizon line. The horizon line is the line that separates the water from the sky. So the first thing you want to do is you want to choose 3 warm colors and 3 cool colors to work with. 3 or 4. I think 4 would be max. And then you're going to choose, either you're going to do warm colors for your water and cool colors for your sky, or cool colors for your water like I did here, and warm colors for your sky. So you're going to start with your background paper. You need to write your name and the day you have art. Day A, day B, day C. You're going to flip it over, and then I'm going to have a whole bunch of scrap paper out. All sorts of different colors to choose from, and you're going to need to choose 3 to 4 warm colors to work with and 3 to 4 cool colors to work with. So I'm going to choose this orange paper for one of my warm colors. I'm going to choose, these are smaller, so I'm going to choose a couple of reds and maybe this pink. So that's 3. I could limit to just those 3, or maybe I throw in this salmon color, which is a warm color too, and do 4. So now I need cool colors. So I want to do this turquoise color, and I like this purple and blue. So I have purples and blues, and that's 3. I think I'm going to do some green too. Alright, so then these I won't use. Now, you might wonder, is this warm or cool? This is considered a red-violet color, and I probably would accept it as a warm color because it's red-violet, but it has violet in it, so it could possibly go with a cool color. So you get to decide, and I won't mark you wrong either way. So I'm going to start at the top of my paper and work my way down. And I think I'm going to do this paper different than my original. So my original, I did warm colors in the sky, cool colors in the water. So I think I'll do cool colors in the sky and warm colors in the water. So I'm going to set my warm colors aside and just work on my cool colors. Now, you don't want to tear these into really long strips. I don't want you to tear them into really long strips, but you do want to tear them into longer pieces because they'll fill the paper faster. If you tear them up into tiny little pieces, it's going to take you forever. And also, when there's a seascape, the artist tends to color side to side to look like the water is waving and moving. If you're doing grass, you go up and down because that's the texture of the grass. The grass grows from the ground up to the sky. But the water kind of lays flat and goes side to side. So I want your pieces to go horizontal, side to side. And so I'm going to take just a couple of papers at a time and tear them into some strips. And maybe I tear these strips in half, or maybe I tear the straight ends off so I don't have any straight ends on my paper. And you're just gonna tear a couple. I'm gonna just tear a couple of each color and try to just make them different lengths so they're not all the same length. Now, if you notice, like this one here is a really bumpy edge, and the thing about paper is sometimes if you're tearing along the grain of it, you can get a pretty smooth straight edge. So I'm obviously tearing along the grain of this paper, but when I was tearing this paper, I'm tearing against the grain, so it kind of doesn't tear very straight. So if you start to tear your paper and it doesn't tear very straight and you don't like that, I'm okay with it being bumpy and wavy-ish, then you want to tear your paper the opposite direction. So I was tearing this direction. So if I tear this direction, look, it's more straight. So if it's bothering you the way that it's tearing, turn your paper and tear in the opposite direction, and it'll tear pretty straight for you, and it'll be a lot easier. So here are my torn papers. I'm going to set these aside. I might need them later. And I'm just going to, I don't have very much green. Let me tear another thing of green. Okay, and so what I want you to do is glue each piece down, and this is going to seem very tedious, but I want you to glue each piece down with a frame of glue. So I want you to put not just a line of glue in the middle or a dot of glue, because I want these to lay flat on your paper. So I want you to put a frame of glue. And since I'm right-handed, I'm going to start left and work to right. And I'm just going to line this up with the edge of my paper and go across. And then I'm going to overlap a little bit, maybe a lot. Maybe I overlap a lot. It's really my preference. This one will reach all the way across, so I'm not going to put glue all the way across it because it's going to hang off. And that way I don't get too much glue on the table. And then this piece hangs off the paper, and at the end I'm going to flip this over and trim those edges. But you need to do a frame of glue so that this paper doesn't curl up. And then try not to have too much of the same color touching. You're going to have some color, some of the same color touching, but try not to have too much of it, like a big space of green. Whatever you can come up with. So you're going to go through a lot of glue with this assignment. And then you need to decide how much water you want and how much sky you want. If you want to have a lot of depth in your picture and you want to have your lots of boats, maybe you want more than one boat, then you're probably going to want to have a lot more water than you do sky. So I might want to stop with the sky after this and then make this all water. Or you could do kind of half and half. Half of your paper is sky, half of your paper is water. That's up to you. You're the artist. You get to decide. So this covers up most of it. I have a little white there and a little white there. If I'm really particular, I could go back and add a little piece of those, but I'm okay. They go side to side. I've used 4 colors. I have some greens and some purples touching each other, but not too much. And so now I'm finished with this. So if you have a whole bunch of paper that you tore that you didn't use, we'll have a basket for you. 2 baskets, one for cool colors and one for warm colors. And maybe my other classes can use that if they just need a little bit to finish off something. So now I'm ready to move on to warm colors. So these are my 4 warm colors. I'm going to tear those into strips. Okay, so this didn't tear very straight, so I know I'm not tearing with the grain. So I'm going to turn and tear the opposite direction. And now I'm getting nice straight tears. So now I'm going to start gluing these on. And they should overlap a little bit of the cool colors. Okay, so now that I'm at the end, I'm not going to put a frame of glue because this is going to hang off. So I just put a line of glue. Maybe glue here. Okay, so now my paper is full. These are leftover, so these will go in the bin with all the warm colored scraps. And now what I want you to do to make this look nice and neat is I want you to flip it over and I want you to trim off the colors that are hanging off the sides. So you're going to cut right next to the white paper. Just trim those off. And if you've given your glue enough time to get sticky, they shouldn't move too much on you. And then these little bits of scraps can be thrown away. Try not to cut your white paper and make a gouge in your white paper so it's not a straight edge anymore. So now I have my paper covered, so now I'm ready to turn it into a seascape. Right now it just looks like a bunch of torn paper. So I'm going to use some black paper to make a boat, and I'm going to make at least 2 boats. So I'm going to start and make a nice big boat. I'm going to cut that out, and I didn't make it one piece. You can make the boat all one piece if you want. I think it looks interesting by cutting it into 3 different pieces. So there's the hull of the boat, the bottom of the boat. And here's one sail. Now I don't want you to recycle this scrap because this is going to be great scrap to add some other small details. So now I'm going to glue my boat on, and since this is my big boat, it's not going to go near the horizon line. It's not going to go near where the warm and the cool touch, which this is the water and that's the sky. It's going to go down near the bottom. So I'm also putting glue on the side with my pencil lines so that when I glue it down, you don't see my pencil lines. Alright, and then from here, I will draw a smaller boat. Maybe I'll do it all in one piece now. So I'm going to draw a smaller boat here. put glue on the same side as the pencil lines. So now you've made your small boat, and so now this is going to get placed closer to the horizon line, the line that separates the water from the sky. It doesn't have to go right on the horizon line because it's not too small. Anything right on the horizon line is going to be super, super tiny. So I can put that somewhere between the bottom of this boat and the horizon line. And I'm going to place that right about here. And then this leftover scrap paper, I thought would be great to cut out some bird shapes. You know, just those simple V birds. Really, birds don't look like that, but, you know, it's just something that we're adding, just a little detail. It doesn't need to be too realistic. And maybe they're far away, so they're kind of hard to see. And then just add a couple of those in the sky if you want. If you can think of something else that goes in a seascape that you'd like to add, I don't see a problem with that. You can come talk to me and we can try and see what we can work out, figure out what you could add on there. And I'm trying to do different sizes of bird, so that they're not all exactly the same size. And maybe glue a couple together and then one far apart. And I think that just creates a little bit more interest and draws your eye up towards the sky so that you're looking at the whole picture and not just the boats in the picture. So I kind of leave two sides of the bird straight, and then I kind of curve the other two sides of the bird, or the V. And then there you have it, 3rd grade, your warm and cool colored seascape showing space. You'll have something large up front, something smaller in the back. Good job.